my tip top. And if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop.
Welcome to In the Vibe,
y'all.
Oh, here we go again.
Anyways, welcome.
That's
Thank
right.
you for joining us, and we are so excited about this show.
That's right, because I'm Bass B.
And I'm DIZZ-E with you all know a capital E.
Capitalize it.
Woo! He started it. He must be more in a rush to get somewhere.
Because it's so hot. It's hot in here.
It's hot. The roof is on fire. Okay, and we finish it off with a nice little. Okay.
We thank you guys.
Thank you for
joining us.
Come here. Thank you. Come on. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. Anyways, thank you for following us. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for watching us. And thank you.
That's
And
right.
don't forget to
Join
subscribe
us.
right here. Okay, and don't forget to ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. And follow us on
Twitter,
Instagram.
TikTok.
And you can also follow us on our other channel, Critical Opinion,
That's right.
where you can hear all our latest music.
That's right.
And soon to be released,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Oh, it's not a rock song. Anyway, sorry.
We're working on the final endings, but it's going to be good.
You're going to love it.
Exactly.
Right? Anyways, it's coming out soon.
That's right.
Stay tuned and check your local listings on your digital sounds. Where you get your digital music, we're there.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So
Wow.
let's talk
Well,
about-
man, things have happened this week.
That's right.
Okay, so, hey, guess what?
What's
You
up,
won't
this?
believe this. Guess who is having an anniversary? What group is having their release, man? It is amazing. These guys were killer. We're going to talk about them later on, and
We will.
later on.
Yeah.
Right? House of Pain.
House of Pain.
It's 30 years ago. They released the song Jump Around.
Jump around,
up and get down.
Jump. Yeah.
I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top. I don't need a pig because a pig is a cop.
What? No, you know these,
Right?
these
Anyways,
guys.
they were in the album House of Pain.
Right.
Right? That was awesome.
Yeah.
The Miz would say. Anyway, so it's 30. It was 30. It's been 30 years,
30
man.
years,
30
man.
years,
30 years.
right? Do you remember the guys who were on the band?
Everlast, because that's my personal favorite one.
Yeah, Everlast was awesome.
Yeah.
Right, DJ Lethal.
DJ
Right?
Lethal,
Oh
that's
man,
right.
that guy could spin. That guy could cut. And Danny Boy, man,
Boy,
I like
yeah.
Danny Boy. Danny
Yeah.
Boy was good, right?
Yeah.
These guys, this song was they were Irish American.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in Ireland, this song went off the roof. It
Yeah.
was back. But in the UK, it was big. It went huge, but they weren't allowed to play it on the radios because of the line I just said.
Yeah.
I'm the cream of the crop. I don't need a pig because a pig is a cop.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, and especially in Northern Ireland, it was not allowed to be played in Northern Ireland. But in the UK, eventually people fought back against it and protested, like people that music lovers, and they let it go back on the radio because it's only a song, okay? And these guys were just killing it, okay? They came out of nowhere too.
Yeah,
It was just
yeah.
like out of left field. They're like.
Yeah.
And out went, and it was like a #1 hit instantly.
Yeah.
It hit the top. It was hit #3 on the Billboard charts.
Yeah.
And went from the 100 Billboard's top 100 chart.
Yeah,
Right?
it
So
was produced by
right.
Cypress Hills,
Yeah.
DJ Muggs.
Yeah.
And
So-
I mean, these guys. When I first heard it as a youngin, when it came out, it was like this loud, energetic, crazy, rebellious bunch of boys, and it's still played in all
It's
venues.
played as one of the best hip hop songs ever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I agree.
Because it's still played everywhere in clubs. I know when even in Canada, when I was in Canada and they were playing in clubs, it was still powerful, right?
Right.
It's still powerful in England. Anytime this song comes on, everybody just rushes to the dance floor.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's so many remixes of the song. It's incredible, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And DJs love this song because they can mix it, right? Because they can get the crowd, they can shut the part off, jump around, and everybody go jump, 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 and people jump, jump, jump. It's really cool,
energetic,
right?
man. Great song.
And
Great
so
song.
awesome. Congratulations to House of Pain.
Yes.
30 years, your album is still killing it, right? And people are still listening, right?
Yeah.
So we salute you.
Salute you guys.
Okay.
So we should go on.
Today in the spotlight,
That's
man,
right.
we have
That's
someone
right.
very, very, very special in the spotlight.
That's right.
Okay,
We're talking about one of the most pioneering, influential rap groups of all time, Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
And talking about I know we always refer to youngsters, young people. If you don't know this group, you have to know this group because these were the people in the 80s that started to liberate and show not only to people of different races, with black people, but people of different races, different types of aspects of how society is built. I remember I had friends as kids white friends as kids, they thought that society was normal for everyone until they heard Public Enemy, and then they realized that it was a different story.
Oh yeah, because they brought out the street, what was happening in the streets. They brought it out to the people, the masses.
That's right.
And
That's right.
So even in being in the UK, I did not know a lot of that stuff was really. I thought it was actually, to be honest, I thought it was just a storytelling.
Yeah, many of the producers.
Right? And so that's all we thought. It was just somebody making stories, and they're just to promote. But then later on, I started reading the Source magazine, and that started coming out, and I started reading in there. And then plus, I'd gone to New York with my granddad. I think I mentioned this before, and I was so surprised, how much what Queens, Harlem, and old Brooklyn, all this looked like at the time. It was insane. It was exactly what they said the streets are like, right? And really people like drug dealers on the streets, police officers, just beating someone up with the nightclub, right? And the Billy Club. It wasn't that. It was crazy out there on the streets, right? And but when I think of that, and even though they were in the States, when I thought about and listened to it in the UK, I was relating that to more what's happening in the UK, in the mainly in the African British communities areas, right? It was happening in those areas as well. Not as much down in in Beswick, right? And I talked about that in Seoul, Manchester, and in other areas. It was throughout the UK, there was in different areas where the police were not so friendly, and it still goes on, by the way.
It's exactly. And even after all this time, I mean, what they preached about and rapped about is still existing today. It's just now that more people recognize
are more aware, aware of it, right?
Yeah.
And the funny thing, even though we're aware of it and we're woken to the whole message,
that's right.
Right, over all these years, nothing's changed.
Nothing's
changed, right? And very little, right? And the only thing that was really big, defund the police, about a year ago. What happened to that? Nothing. It's all these things nothing ever comes of it because politicians don't really want to do anything about that. That's not their main priority, right? So this is their main priority is try to get Trump into prison. That's their main priority.
And even now we have video cameras and we're recording it. You see, I mean, there's evidence is 9/10 of the law. It still seems that police. Even I heard now what happened to George Floyd. The policeman who assisted with the policemen who assisted with George Floyd when he passed away. They will get minor sentences compared to what they were expecting to get. So it just shows again with society that.
But
stuff
at least something was done about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
let's go back. Public Enemy makes everybody aware of social issues, awakens everybody with their lyrics, and they set the ground for what today we call gangster rap.
That's
okay?
right.
And this wasn't really called gangster rap yet, right? Because that phrase didn't come out until NWA. Yeah. Okay, they phrased it as gangster rap, but at this point it was just rap, but it was conscious rap.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it was making people aware of what was happening in the streets, and they were using some really wicked beats and like sound bites, and samples, they were doing like samples, right? Everybody else was using like 1 or 2 samples or 3 or 4 samples. These guys were using like 12 samples on top of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so their music really stood out, right? So the members of the team of or the group, Public Enemy were
there were Chuck D,
Flavor Flav,
Terminator X,
and Professor Griff, right? And these guys came together in 1986 at Adelphi University on Long Island.
Yeah.
Right.
And about Long Island, this area, it was like middle class African American area, but even though they had houses and everything, still crime was much the same. It still existed.
They were trying to create on Long Island. They were trying to create a sort of a suburb of African American communities. Because believe it or not, even in 1986, which is not that long ago, people did not want African American people moving into their suburb communities.
That's right.
And so therefore they created this Long Island community, right? Where it was made nice houses, green yard, just like the white neighborhoods. And however, there wasn't as much policing, there wasn't as much real attention to that. They were just okay, let's move all these middle class, because African Americans never really had a middle class.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And so it was either successful people or working class.
Yeah, exactly. And even though the attempt was trying to make it separate, still, everybody can still see the crime, and as we were saying before, it just still existed. So with Chuck D, which his real name is Carlton Rittenauer, was studying graphic design and working at the college's radio station, WBAU. He became friends with Hank Shockley and Bill Stepney, and they would stay up late into the night discussing politics, philosophy, and hip-hop. And Rittenauer rapped over a track that Shockley created called Public Enemy
Number One. And
that's
that began they began appearing regularly on Stephanie's radio station, and calling him. Then he started calling himself Chucky D.
Chucky D.
Right? That's where it started from. It's amazing where the name starts from, how it grows, how the groups evolve, right? And how everybody came together.
Yeah, and it was so funny because in some shows, they would have like 30 or 40 rappers on stage, and Chuck D later on, he was just noticing that many of them weren't rapping well, or they were offbeat or so on, and he would just show an introduction, and people just loved him from the beginning. And they were kind of pushing him, hey, Chucky D, why don't you start rapping?
And they started saying, come on the road with us, come and you rap, and you MC, we'll do the music, people love you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that sort of changed his whole, after that, it sort of changed after he did his first performance.
That's right.
In a nightclub on a Saturday night, and that really pretty much changed it.
Yeah.
At this point, Rick Rubin,
who we talk about all the time.
Def Jam Records. Okay, they came on there and he heard them, and actually Run DMC.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
He actually told Rubin, "You got to hear these guys."
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
because he had been to their radio station, right? Because Chuck D and Stephanie and I forgot Shockley. They had a radio station, right? WBAU, which was part of the Adelphi University, right? And so it was a really popular hip hop radio station. And so the Run DMC, some of these other rappers, they would just come there to hang out with them, and they would interview them, talk to them. And one day they were just playing all these songs, and then they played Public Enemy Number One, and DM goes, "Who's that?" I was like, "Great," and they go, "That's us." It's like, wow, that music, that siren.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then when you hear it, it sounds. If you listen to the music beat by itself, it sounds irritating. But when you hear the lyrics over top of it, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so he went to Rick Rubin and said, "You need to sign these guys on. You need to bring them in." Right, and so they said, okay. Rick Rubin was ready to sign them on.
Yeah.
However, right, one of the presidents of Def Jam did not want them Flavor Flav because they saw it because he was a little bit crazy and they didn't really know what his real role was on the band.
That's true. So if you don't know Flavor Flav, this guy, he was known as kind of the hype man.
Yeah.
He was really coming from the streets, not really amounting to anything.
Back then, every group had a character.
That's right.
They had a character player.
That's right.
There was a character player, right? And he was the character of, like, you had the front man, usually 2 MCs. You had the MC, the DJ.
That's right.
And then you had the dancers, some of them, right?
Yeah,
and if they didn't have dancers, they would have the gimmick guy. The guy that could dress up and make him look like anything, and he would go, "Yo, boy,
yeah, boy,"
and he'd wear these hats and he'd wear big glasses, and these really baggy clothes and colorful, right?
Yeah.
And so he was sort of the clown of the, not really a clown, the comedian, on the show, and he would do these really weird dances, and everybody would like start doing them, and he actually made some of the dances like people would do. It was really funny, right?
So, so when it happened that Stephanie as a marketeer and DJ Norman were all coming together, they added Richard Griffin, which is Professor Griff, to work with the backup dancers, and they were called the security of the first world. And with Professor Griffin, this is where we always talk about the contrast. He was very military,
straight edge.
Yeah, straight edge. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Everybody's on time. Everybody dances. Organizations synchronized. And with the opposite with Flavor Flav, well, William Drayton, it was it was just all emotion. Yeah, boy.
And he would like jump around on the stage, and they would be standing there like stiff and with their those model or the play Uzis in their hands, and they would do the dancing with this.
Yes.
And so it was just like Richard Griffin, he was sort of like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Because they always had to at the time, you're young, and so Flavor Flav was also very much into using recreational drugs. And so they always had to find him to bring him to the shows, and he often wasn't really prepared for the shows, and sometimes he even regrets now saying that the one thing he regrets, he missed a lot of the shows.
Yes,
because he was too high to go, right?
Yes, but nonetheless, Public Enemy, Chuck D wanted him in the group. He says that he's an essence of the part of the group. And if everybody plays their part, it will be a great success, which was predicted as well. So calling themselves Public Enemy, the group released the first album, Yo Bum Rush to Show, in 1987.
Under the label of under the Def Jam label.
That's right.
So this album sort of created a real big buzz and really had positive reviews about it, right? Because this is the first time the group they changed the music, they changed the way the lyrics were delivered, right? And it was the second album, 1998, that it takes a nation of a million to hold us back. This was the first album I bought of Public Enemy, right? And this is the one with Don't Believe the Hype, Bring the Noise, right? And so their songs charted at number 42, right? And it was just crazy, right? And which included just having their songs on the R&B charts, and it charted number 1 on the R&B chart.
It did.
And so because it wasn't really an R&B songs, right?
No,
but the beat was R&B.
It was, and the effect at this time that we're talking about was they had this more Malcolm X type of approach with Black Power, Black unity, and so on.
Empowering young black youth, telling them to come together to unite and stop the violence, stop the black on black violence, right? And Don't Believe the Hype was huge.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe we should listen to a couple of them respectively. Don't Believe the Hype and
Don't Believe the
Noise.
Hype. Yep. Here you go.
Bang! Caught you looking for the same thing. It's a new thing. Check out what a brother know. Once again, back is the incredible rhyme animal, the uncannibal.
Yeah, that was great. So, what happened in 1989?
In 1989, the group recorded Fight the Power!
Fight the Power! Yeah.
Which was the theme song for Spike Lee's film Do the Right Thing.
Guys, he's been singing this during the break.
Come on. Do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Keeps going, that's it, guys.
Man, that song is awesome as well, right? It wasn't done by them. Fight the Power was huge, and that sort of became the sort of the hype for the movie. Do the Right Thing.
I love that film.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the following year, right? Hey, before we go, can we listen to Fight the Power?
We gotta listen to
Fight the Power.
Fight the Power.
Fight the Power. Keep fighting it.
Pow.
Freedom of speech is freedom of thought. We got to fight the powers that be.
Wow, it's just fantastic. And you know, with this movie, Do the Right Thing, that kind of just empowered this young community, this everybody, about how fight the power, fight the oppression, fight the society in general. And what happened was the following year.
It was about racism.
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
It's like the fight against racism. And this sort of now opened the gate for Public Enemy to do other songs, right? Because their song Fight the Power was accepted.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So the following year, Public Enemy returned with Fear of a Black Planet, and the album became the group's first to reach the top 10.
Yeah.
And songs such as Burn Hollywood Burn and 911 is a Joke examine white racism, while Brothers Gonna Work It Out urged African Americans to unite.
Yeah. And so it was these songs really were, like I said, conscious rap. They were awakening people up to what's really happening. And you know, a lot of the people that you have to remember, like a lot of their fans were like African American, but it started moving into the white neighborhood, urban young suburb, white young teens and young men and women, and they started. Everybody was doing Fight the Power, and they were wearing. That's when people were started wearing that black.
Yeah, that's right.
The black medallion thing with Africa.
Even
on
in Do the Right Thing, it was like that.
It was sort of to promote. The peace and equality, right? And which was kind of strange because it had really nothing to do with Africa, right? But it had to do with the African culture. Right? So,
I still believe that even to this day, they were preaching a lot with what was going to happen in the 90s with the rebellious lists and everything, but we'll talk more about that.
Well, the way he rapped was more like Chuck D. The way he rapped, they rapped like he was part preacher, part evangelist, part like professor, and then partly like a street thug, right? So the way he was rapping, it was a combination. He was bringing in his vocals, right? And nobody was able to imitate this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so what really pushed them was, I don't know if you know about this, what happened was they were getting ready with all these albums, but before they put these songs out, there was an issue, right? And that was that at the same time, right, there was a new group came out around the same time, which we talked about already, right?
It's NWA.
No, Rakim.
Oh, you're talking about Eric B. and Rakim.
Eric B. and Rakim. They came out, and what happened was the way they came out, these guys were with what's her name? With Def Jam. They were preparing the music. They were like getting them. They're ready, and they had written all this music. And then what happened was they heard Eric B. and Rakim's song. Right. And when they came out, that was like they were like, oh my God, these guys just changed
But
they changed the
whole outlook of the
rap. No, they changed the playing field completely because they were using samples. They were like mixing and they were doing all this other thing. And then the lyrics, the way he delivered the lyrics
much
with that speed,
intense.
fast and intense, but with the speed and with then coming back. So at that point, the other producers and everybody at Def Jam was like, oh my god, like these guys are just, and so that's when Chuck D said, you know what, no, okay. They went back into the studio, 6 weeks, right? And they changed their whole tone and everything on the songs they had originally recorded, changed the tone, came back, and they came out with all these songs, Fight the Power, right? And Burn Hollywood Burn, 9/11 is a joke, right? Brother's gonna work it out, right? All these things, all of a sudden it was very similar tone to what everybody was excited about with Eric B and Rakim, because Eric B and Rakim changed music, they changed the way and then so he kept the same tone, but they changed the delivery of the lyrics. So that was incredible.
So with Chuck D, like you said, was routinely rated as one of the greatest rappers of all time. He pushed the art of MC forward with his inevitable rapid-fire baritone as he connected with the culture of hip-hop with black nationalism and the ideas of Malcolm X. But his counterpart, Flavor Flav, he brought more humor in the case of 911, and it's a joke.
You know what I'm talking about.
And madcap energy to the songs. That's right.
Yeah, this inspired a lot of other artists, right? At the time that were still young teenagers, right? Like Jay-Z, Rage Against the Machine, right?
That's right.
And so this was like a power. They were a powerhouse. They brought in and
it brought this new level of conceptual sophistication to hip hop. And this, like you said, level of intensity and power. So we have to kind of respect that, because many of these artists today wouldn't even be here or even portray themselves this way if it wasn't for Public Enemy.
Think about Anthrax redid the song, Public Enemy #1, right? And first Chuck D met with Anthrax lead guy, and he's like, nah, you guys are just like, you guys are serious. Then when they played the music for him, and then they went, you guys are serious. You guys really want to do this, and they did it, and it was re-released. Right? And so, Fight the Power, or not Fight the Power, Public Enemy #1. That was huge with Anthrax, and that's a rock band. And this was the first time that even actually Run DMC did it with. This was like for heavy metal band crossover with rap, right? And remember we talked about Ice-T last time. Ice-T did the same thing as well, right? And so this was starting to become it was started like people really started to get the idea, and so their fan base even grew. Now they had a heavy metal fan base that was now coming into hip hop, and rock fans were coming out to Public Enemy. I think they were the first accepted rap group that was accepted by the heavy metal fans and community as well, right?
Exactly. So with Public Enemy's next album, 1991's Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black reached #4 on the charts and included the hits Can't Trust It and Shut 'Em Down. And another track, I Don't Want to Be Called Your is about how the urban culture uses the word. I don't know if it's okay for say.
It's the N-word, right? I don't want to be called your N, right? And then because the urban culture, like you said, were like, using the N-word is sort of, I don't know about that, right? It was very derogatory, but they used it in the form of taking the power away from that word, right? And so, which is why a lot of the rappers use that, is not to give power to it, right? Because so by saying this and mentioning it from a black person's point of view, right, from an African American rapper's point of view, right, and other people could relate from the community, right? So remember, these songs weren't really written for the outside of the African American community. This was for the blacks to give them, empower them, to tell them like what's really going on in the world, and educating. They were professors, really.
Yeah, they were, because many of the African American students in schools, they said all they learned about was George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, but that's a different type of American history. They're showing you, portraying to you a raw, kind of rough, rugged type of history. Yeah,
and then they came out with the next album. Also included the song "By the Time I Get to Arizona."
Yes.
Right. The song itself was sort of accompanied with a video, right, which dealt with racism and facts, and also that at the time, there were a lot of states that did not recognize Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday or the day.
Because this will be the first time that an African American would have a national holiday ever in the U.S. And there were two states that didn't want to pull through. It was Arizona and New Hampshire. And Public Enemy decided to do something about Arizona. By the time I get to Arizona. And this song, its accompanying video, dealt with the fact of how people in Arizona didn't recognize Martin Luther King Jr. to have a national holiday.
So here's a video. By the time I get to Arizona. Listen to this video.
Down to the day the server fitting for a king. I'm waiting for the time when I can get to Arizona.
All right. I have to correct myself. I think I said they said that Anthrax recorded the song Public Enemy #1. Actually, it wasn't. It was they did the song Bring the Noise, right? Bring the Noise was the one that they recorded, right? And so this was recorded as by the heavy band metal Anthrax, right? And Chuck D initially did not want to record this song with Anthrax, right? And and the rest I already told you, like he was very surprised, and he was happy to collaborate with them, and the song just went up, like it climbed to the top 12, right? And they went collaborated, right? And it bridged the gap between heavy metal and hip hop, and brought the hip hop to a much wider group. And also they brought heavy metal, sort of was introduced more into the African American community as well, because there were people now going, hey, that's not bad music.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
And so it was actually pretty cool.
So in 1992, Public Enemy and Anthrax hit the road for a joint tour, closing each show with a joint performance of Bring the Noise. Public Enemy also opened for U2's TV tour. And then in 1994, a motorcycle accident shattered Terminator X left leg. If we remember, Terminator X was the main DJ. He was the one that was wearing the glasses, so you can't really see his face and his mood. But he had an accident, and in 1998 he decided to retire from the group eventually. And Public Enemy added DJ Lord as their full-time DJ.
Well, Public Enemy continues to record and continues to tour. Even up to the present day. And so in 2005, the band released New World Order. And in 2007, the group issued Haya Sells Souls to a soulless people who sold their souls. That's a long name. That's a long. You know what? If you noticed, all their titles of their songs. Their albums are huge, very long. It's like a book.
Exactly. And even today, there's so much controversy because we even talked about it, Diz and I, how Flavor Flav and Professor Griff had a little bit of a riff because he was so strict and Flavor Flav was the opposite. And how Professor Griff later got into trouble talking about Jews, how there were the problems of so many things. So it was a lot of anti-Semitism.
Which was going against what their message was, to stop racism.
Right.
And so this sort of ended the relationship with Griff as well.
Yes, from Public Enemy. And then later on, Flavor Flav went on to do Flavor of Love, if you know that reality TV show, is looking for love. And many of the partners in the group were upset. They're like, this is not the legacy of Public Enemy, just going around looking for women.
So they just left it out as his show, and then and to this day they're still creating beats, they're still developing, right? the group returned with the album Beats in Places,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
In 2011, while in 2012, Public Enemy issued 2 albums. Most of my heroes still don't appear on No Stamps and The Evil Empire of Everything.
That's
See,
right.
there's names of their albums are really long.
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
That's
It's true.
crazy. So this
But,
was it,
yeah.
and these guys are like they're still powerhouse.
Yeah, they're major influence and art. And I remember actually when I was getting older, I remember this movie, He Got Game.
Yeah.
And
He got game, she got game,
you
they
got
got
game,
game,
you
he
got
got
game.
game. Yeah.
You might feel good, it might
Yeah.
sound like something, but after the game, if you
Yeah.
don't mean nothing. But this is one of the best hit tracks, and you know, we thank you, Public Enemy, for being a major influence to artists such as us and bandmates, and you know, you guys are a positive influence all around the world, and we
They
still
were a huge influence to Nirvana's Kurt
That's-
Cobain.
yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
to Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
That's right,
So
that's
it was-
right.
And Ben Harper.
Yes,
Right?
I mean,
and the list goes on. These guys just woke everybody. They were like the big influence on NWA as well.
yes, they were
Right?
before NWA. These
Yeah.
guys were here, so we salute you guys. We thank you.
Here's our
Step up.
salute. Ready?
Salute.
Salute. Okay. To
And-
you and all you guys,
yeah.
right? And my boy Flavor Flav.
yeah, boy.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's funny when we still do.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Hilarious,
anyways,
man.
thank you for all
Thank
your
you,
music,
guys.
all your messages, waking people up.
That's
and
right.
you educated me
Yeah.
about African American Black lives, right? And so that really had an effect on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Same
so-
for me.
I learned a lot from their songs.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
So
you.
it's that time.
What time is it?
It's that time.
It's that time?
It's that time.
It's that time.
It's that time
You all know it's that time
for Bang, the top 10 hits.
I got some home. Shawty can do better. My vibe, I could keep your head up. I got my action. I see it.
I got that Glock in my yoga pants, fucking that bitch in the yoga stance, swinging that kid with a open stance.
Know that I know who is them took a peek.
Nigga, this is ass better stay focused. Nowadays, the real niggas be doing a lot of whole shit.
Motherfucking gangster, mama, thank you. I spent my whole life and want my life in danger.
I got nowhere being the nice guy. Yeah, I got it, but you know the price high. Proud of model, I came out the house fly. Spark on
Back then when I ain't had no money, they took a pay for me to eat. 3 in the morning, time to go home. Jordan walked me halfway.
Outside, we sending killers at your door. Yeah, talk down on that gang, little bitch, we slice
Me on the time. Wanted me to lie, wanted me to cry, wanted me to die.
All right.
Alright.
That
Yeah.
was a good
good
day,
list. Good,
like
good.
Ice Cube would say.
Today was
Today was a good day, right?
Excellent.
Anyway, so thank you again for sticking with us, and
Thank
we
you.
hope you learned something new, and we hope we're educating you,
Yes.
all you young people out there, and all the if,
Everyone is too.
otherwise, if you.
Yeah.
We hope we took you down the memory lane and sort of gave you that nostalgic feeling.
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
Anyways, thank you again, and don't forget to subscribe and
That's
continue
right.
subscribing,
Right here.
following us. Ring that bell, ding ding ding, and follow us on all our social media sites,
Yes.
right? And we want to thank you, and stay healthy, stay peaceful, stay sunny. Peace,
Peace.
love, respect.
Peace.